We are live right now in the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Carl Coulage for the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this Wednesday afternoon. I am your host, Carl Coulage. Let's get right into it. Before we bring in our guests, I want to do some quick rundown of what's going on in sports right now. NHL, David Quinn from the Rangers has been fired after 3 seasons. I know some of my hockey guys are pretty thrilled about that, seeing him go, considering the news that they had last week. So shout out to my hockey crew for that. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the NFL schedule. Week 1 is already out, and we got some leaks. So we're going to talk to the NFL guys and see what they think about the schedule. I was talking to Rick earlier on today. I feel like it's Christmas for NFL fans because everyone's excited about the schedule, and we'll see how that goes. We'll also talk about Tim Tebow and him to the Jaguars and how does that affect Colin Kaepernick. A lot of fans have been a little upset about that and pretty much discussing how that's going to go along. Moving along to the NBA, what else we got planned for you guys today? The Russell Westbrook and his legacy. Ray Jarvis, special shout out to him from the Gray Area, dropped his pod yesterday about Russell Westbrook. So we definitely want to tap into that and see how that's covered and what people think. I know Andres has a very disdain dislike for the Westbrook haters. So does Anthony Mullen. So we're going to see what he has to say about that. The play-in tournament is 5 days away. Currently, right now in the Western Conference, the Memphis Grizzlies are at 9th. The Spurs are at 10th. The Lakers are at the 7th seed. The Warriors are at the 8th seed. That's the matchup that looks really, really good that I think people may want to see. The Lakers versus the Warriors. Hopefully it sticks, and seeing the defending champions in a play-in situation where they may have to play 2 games just to get into the playoffs. On the Eastern Conference side, we have the Pacers at 9th, the Wizards at 10th, my Celtics at 7th, and the Hornets at 8th. Honestly, the Celtics really blew it. They had the opportunity to capitalize and win 2 games against Miami, and the Miami Heat won. The Miami Heat are playing really well right now. They're clicking at the right time. Special shout out to them. And we also have the MLB. I have an MLB segment at the end of the show, which is going to be a surprise. I'm not telling my panel what's going to come on that show, but it's going to be a quick surprise for them to tune in. So make sure you watch that at the end of the show. So we're going to kick off with the NBA, then roll to the NFL. And then we have the MLB. So special shout out to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Thank you to Errol Marks and everyone there. Please make sure you download the app. Make sure you go onto the website. You can also check it out on Apple Music, Spotify, and Apple Playlists. So today, before I begin today's show, I wanted to quickly touch upon the NBA play-in tournament. Now, I was against the NBA play-in tournament to begin with. I was a little against it because to me, it didn't make sense to have 2 teams that are fighting to play in the playoff spot that they may end up losing anyway. What are the chances of an 8th seed or a 7th seed upsetting? But now as we get closer and closer to it, I'm starting to warm up to it because you see a lot of teams playing harder just so they won't have to be into that 7th or 8th spot. I expected my team to be one of those teams to play, not to fight into the 7th or 8th, but it hurt to see them not playing well. Clearly, yes, Jaylen Brown is out, but it's also a next man up mentality. I see the comments talking about the Knicks all day, but the Knicks could possibly be in that situation themselves. They dropped down to 6 after losing in the overtime to the Lakers last night. So, again, I was against the play-in, but now I'm kind of warming up to it. And also you have the Lakers versus the Warriors. How entertaining would that be to see Steph Curry against LeBron James in a play-in situation where, you may have the Lakers having to play 2 games just to get in. So all of these interesting scenarios may play out for the play-in tournament. And also now with the Lakers at 7th, could they be that first team to win, go all the way to the NBA Finals as a 7th or 8th seed? There's so many storylines that go along with having that. So being that my mentality is kind of shifting in that way of gearing and saying, you know what, maybe the play-in tournament may not be that bad. It's a way for the NBA to capitalize. They're playing 10 less games. And also it's a way to keep the fans intrigued. And it's also a way of competition for to compete for an actual playoff spot as opposed to that whole tanking mentality. I didn't want it because I didn't want my team to be in that situation, but clearly the Celtics don't care. So I'm not going to care. And that's how it's been for them all season. And people are thinking, well, why don't I care about the Celtics and how they're playing? It's because they want to have that mentality and not play well. Then it is what it is. As far as the Knicks are concerned, the Knicks are playing really well. They lost last night. Yes, they did, but they're playing team chemistry and they're playing really well together. And I like to see how they play. And seeing how Julius Randle is having an MVP caliber kind of season goes to show the hard work Tom Thibodeau having these guys. I believe Julius Randle leads the league in minutes played this year. He's playing great. We've seen the resurgence of Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is playing really well too. Another tad bit of news. We have James Harden's coming back tonight. Manny, I see you in the comments. I know the Nets fans are going crazy and they're pretty excited about that. So James Harden's coming back tonight. That'll be something to look forward to. As I have my NBA guys, they'll be here coming on briefly. But as I said before in the opening of the show, we got the NFL coming up. We're going to talk about Tim Tebow and Colin Kaepernick. A lot of fans feel that, how is Tim Tebow, and even NFL players feel, how is Tim Tebow getting an opportunity to play? How is Tim Tebow getting an opportunity to play, but Colin Kaepernick is still on the sidelines, not getting any form of opportunity? Been talking to a lot of sports fans. One person told me, well, you know what, Tim Tebow is willing to change his position and play tight end as opposed to playing quarterback. Will Colin Kaepernick be able to do that? Maybe that's why he doesn't have a job. So there are a lot of different factors that are going into the reasons why Colin Kaepernick, Tim Tebow signing. It's also nepotism and who he knows in Jacksonville. So those are all the different reasons why. Just give me 1 second. Sending out the information. But yeah, we're going to get into that as well. And as I said before, we have my MLB team. I have a big surprise for them. I'm going to ask them a question on spot. So let's see how they end up turning it out as I continue to wait for my contributors to come in and we talk about Russell Westbrook. This whole thing about Russell Westbrook, he passed Oscar Robertson for the most triple doubles all time. But some people feel that Russell Westbrook is not a winner. Ray Jarvis said on his podcast that Russell Westbrook is not a winner. Let's see if we could dive in. We have that 2-on-2 debate. We have Anthony Mullen and Andres Rivas versus Mike Miller and Ray Jarvis as they're going to talk about Russell Westbrook and his legacy and what he has created. Do you care about the stats? Do you care about the individual accomplishments? Or do you want the team accomplishments? These are the debates that sports fans have all the time, and they go back and forth about it. And it doesn't seem to make any sense what they're doing. So we're going to wait for these guys to come in. Just give me 1 second. As I give them the right password, and they're coming in now. Excuse me for that. But as I was saying, in terms of with the Russell Westbrook debate, it's something that people go back and forth with. What do you care most about? Do you care most about stats, or do you care most about championships? That's one thing that goes back and forth. So we're going to get into that as I bring in my contributors for the Sports Hit List NBA team. Mr. Ray Jarvis is coming in right now. Mr. Ray Jarvis, sir, how you doing? Can you hear me? Ray Jarvis, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
How you doing? Sorry about that misinformation. I apologize.
It's all good, man. Shit happens. Things happen.
Mr. Mike Miller, can you hear me, sir?
Yo.
How you doing, man?
What's up?
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor with your phone, my brother?
No.
There we go. Much better, much better. How's it going, man? How's everything going?
Chilling, man. Everything's great.
So your places are in that play-in tournament. What are your chances of you guys getting out and actually making the playoff spot?
Not a comfortable feeling. Shouts out to our 2-game winning streak, though. Thank you, Philly and Cleveland, for letting us. Thank you. I do not feel comfortable playing the Wizards right now. They have my number the past week. They beat us twice. We should have beat them in OT. Damo had 20, and 9. But I'm not that confident in it. I'm going to pick my team because it's a toss-up. But especially if Bradley Beal's hampered with that hamstring, I definitely am picking us to beat them.
Mr. Jarvis, sir, are you concerned? Are you concerned about your Lakers being in that 7th spot?
No,
not at all. So would your team? So you're saying your team's going to be the first team to be in the 7th or 8th spot to make it to the finals and actually win it?
Absolutely. There's no team in the West that I'm afraid of. There's no team in the West that you can look at and say it's a world beater. You also take into account that this is not your typical home court advantage situation when there's about 25% capacity in these arenas. Some of them can get loud, but it's not going to be it's almost bubble adjacent. You know what I mean? Limited amount of people, limited home court advantage. Essentially, the basketball will speak the loudest yet again in the playoffs. And if you tell me I have a healthy AD, healthy LeBron James, I'm going to take my chances with that team. Like people getting crazy about them Lakers. And it's like, we can't pretend as if injuries aren't the reason we're in the spot we're in right now. We were, I think, the 2nd seed when things went left injury wise. So for me to start acting brand new, like the Lakers are sorry all of a sudden, that's nonsense. We'll get healthy. We'll be in the finals.
All right. Mr. Andres, Mr. Numbers is here. How you doing, sir? Welcome to the panel. What's going on, my brother?
I'm doing fantastic. To God be the glory. I'm blessed. I'm thankful for everything in my life right now, so can't really complain. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Amen to that. So today we are here to talk about Russell Westbrook and his legacy. My good brother, Mr. Ray Jarvis, dropped his video yesterday, and he discussed how Russell Westbrook is not a winner. And I know how, Mr. Numbers, how you feel about Russell Westbrook. I know how Mike feels about Russell Westbrook. I know how Anthony, who should be on his way, how he feels about Russell Westbrook and Ray Jarvis. So I figured let's do a follow-up to Ray Jarvis's video. Andres, what were your thoughts when you saw it?
Well, first of all, Ray produces great content, so if you want to check out the Gray Area, you should do that and check out the Roundtable Community Podcast. You know, I know I'm promoting his podcast, but you know,
that's what we do here.
That's what family's for. That's what family's for. We show love to everyone. But it was a great video, you know, especially because like when Ray breaks down certain things in his videos, he knows what he's talking about. He's not some excuse my language, but not some dumb person from TV, because nowadays we have a lot of analysts on TV that think they know what they're talking about. But unfortunately, I've said this in the past, NBA discourse is literally dying because everything is about narratives, everything is about agendas, everything is about what did player A, B, and C do this night? Is his legacy on the line? When it comes to Russell Westbrook, they literally asked him about the triple-double stuff and like how he felt about it, and how a lot of commentators were talking about that he's not a winner and stuff. And Russell Westbrook, in the nicest way possible, he was literally telling reporters, listen, I come from Compton, like I got it out of the mud, like I'm already successful in life. You know, like if my wife is happy, if my kids are happy, then I'm happy. Like that's the only thing that matters. I know a lot of people are going to say, okay, but basketball wise, we're talking basketball, this and that. But it's just like, if Russell Westbrook is happy with his legacy of being a successful African-American man in the NBA and getting his family out the mud and being someone in life and being a role model for all these kids, then he's going to sleep just fine at night. So even though the video was a great breakout, I disagree with it completely because the stats show that Russell Westbrook is a winner when he has a triple-double. And in the 2017 MVP season, when Russell Westbrook had a triple-double, the Thunder went 33-9, and when he didn't, they went 14-16. So they had a better possibility of winning a game when he had a triple-double. As far as his legacy goes, I mean, like I said, I've said this in the past, I've said it on my podcast, everything in life is easy. Everything in life is hard until someone makes it look easy, you know, Carl. So for you, maybe editing videos is easy because you've done it every single day, right? And you've gotten good at your craft. And people say, oh, this is a great promo video, or this is a great YouTube video. When Russell Westbrook started getting triple doubles, everyone was like, damn, this kid is doing this every night. And then he started getting more and more and more. And everyone was like, nah, let's break it down. So the narrative with that was that he's stealing rebounds from Steven Adams. And surely right now, Steven Adams is the leading rebounder in the league. Well, he's not. He doesn't average even 10 rebounds a game. So shout out to Ray for his video and his podcast and what he does. But I have to do a 180 and disagree with the statement.
Ray, what are your thoughts?
It's funny that when people in athletics usually go to their family first and their personal lives and say that they're content, it's usually people who don't have either playoff success or rings. So they have to hit you with the justification that I'm a millionaire, my life is good, I got it out the mud, so on and so forth. If Russell Westbrook had been a 3-time world champion, you would have never heard that bar when he got the triple-double accolade. When I say he's not a winner, and I said it in the video, and it's like, you know, Mr. Numbers, you watched the video, you heard what I said. Do not run to the win-loss record in triple-double games, because we're not talking about that. And I said this to Carl in the past, and I'm going to say it again on this live. We do not have the right via NBA discourse, because you're right, NBA discourse is dead, to try to lump in superstar players with Joe Schmoes. The rules are not the same for the superstars. When you are promoted a certain way, when you get a certain type of coverage, when you win an MVP, right? The expectations of you as a player is not the same. When you're on that level, we expect at least a playoff series win. And then beyond that, maybe 2 series. Beyond that, a finals appearance. Beyond that, a championship. Throughout this post-KD run from Russell Westbrook, he hasn't done any of these things except 1 playoff series win when he was the second option on James Harden's team, the guy who should have got the MVP the year he won it. So if you're to use my bar from the past, Russell Westbrook, the solo act sans KD, has been a failure because he hasn't won a series, And in fact, when he led the league in usage percentage, I always talk about this. That year in the first triple-double season, what did he shoot? He shot like 41% from the field. So if you tell him you dominating the ball and the other aspects of efficiency, you're not very efficient now. You can't shoot the ball that well from the mid-range. You can't shoot the ball that well from three, and you're dominating the ball. Yes, you are providing things for your team, but at the same time, you negate them when the competition is the highest, which is the playoffs. In the playoffs, everything for Russell Westbrook in certain degrees goes down as far as efficiency. He doesn't shoot as well. He doesn't make the best decisions. And in fact, we saw the Lakers just a year ago. They didn't treat Westbrook like a superstar. They said, Russell, in fact, you beat us. And what did he do? He kept shooting the Rockets completely out of the series. So we got to stop talking about stats. It's not about the stats. What I'm saying is when I look at Russell Westbrook in the triple-double, I don't give a damn. How are you helping your teams win championships? Russell, superstar, former MVP. That is the question. You know, we talk, matter of fact, I'm going to wait. I got another bar, but I'm waiting for Anthony to come on because I know what he's going to try to do. But the fact remains is this. He hasn't gotten it done. And I'm not here to hold up Russ anymore. We're not doing that. Y'all can try, but I'm not doing it.
All right. Joining us is the president of the Laker Nation Brooklyn Division, social media extraordinaire for the Sports Hit List, Mr. Anthony Magic Mullen. Anthony, how you doing, sir?
Great as always.
So we're entertaining that conversation about the legacy of Russell Westbrook. Andre said what you need to say. Ray Jarvis said what you need to say. I'm sure you saw his video. And now I'm going to ask you, what are your thoughts here?
My thoughts is it's so funny that, you know, people want to be so stuck on this, you know, efficiency and, oh, he's not efficient and this. Okay. What about everything else that he does? Like, just because he isn't an efficient shooter and he's not that horrible, but just because he's an inefficient shooter in certain aspects that everything else is just negated. No, the whole total package, everything matters. Let's talk about somebody who was inefficient. Let's look at Kobe Bryant. Somebody I've lived through 20 years or whatever the case may be. Look at his efficiency numbers. It's not that great, but guess what? He was a great player because of his effectiveness once he had the team around him, which is what Westbrook didn't have once they got rid of Harden and then once KD left. He's never had a top-notch team that was expected to win a championship or anything like that. Okay, let's also look at, again, what he's doing. Ray wants to talk about he's not a winner. Oh, again, every time he scores a triple-double, it's 136 to, what is it? 136 to 46, right? Is that not a winning record? Is it not?
Okay,
I can answer.
So, Mike?
Huh?
So when my
no,
man,
it is. No, you don't have to answer it, but it's okay. Let's
go ahead,
let's also talk about the fact. Let's also talk about the fact.
Here we go.
Because we know it is. I did the math. It's a winning record.
Mike is
okay.
chilling.
Let's also talk about the fact that he had 8 triple doubles in his first 6 seasons. How many seasons has Russell Westbrook played so far?
12.
13. Right?
13.
So, right, this is 13th season. Okay, so that means in his last 5 years, right? No, sorry, in the last 7 years, he averaged how many?
A lot.
A whole lot. That would be about 24 seasons. And he's still in 7 years, he's pretty much did with, well, of course it all adds up. Like I said, the 8 adds up. But basically, he's done people careers in this stat, you know, in just 7 years, and then they want to talk about. And then no, okay, no, cool.
The cliff notes.
No, but what I really want to get to is what Ray said about counting numbers. Okay, everything is counting numbers. Don't try to pick and choose when stats matter and don't matter or whatever the case may be. Because when we talk about Steph, 3-point counting number, which is the thing that he's really known for and his greatness. See, or whatever the case may be.
You fell for it already. That's the trap.
That's a counting number, right? That's a counting number, right?
Why you think Ray laughing at you? Why you think Ray laughing at you? That's the trap.
Is it not a counting number? Is it not a counting number? Is 40?
Do you, baby? Do you?
Is leading the league in scoring not a counting number?
Yes.
Oh man. Yo, Mike, go ahead, bro. I'm good, baby.
Did we get the clip notes, bro? Come on.
Yo, that's the
All
trap.
right, no, I'm gonna end it off with this.
Yo, can you finish?
No,
You
I'm
taking up all
finished.
my
I'm
time.
finished.
No,
I'm finished.
Listen,
I
we
got
have a whole
more.
show, man. I got to get to NFL. Come on,
Come
man.
on, man. No, you ain't got to get to them. But
No, cause I got a whole lot more.
Come on.
Like
So
in the last 5 years, only 4 players has averaged 10 assists.
Yo, we get it. Yo, we got a lot of triple doubles, man.
4
we get
players.
it. Can I get my point off, please? We got it, man. We
got it, bro.
understood.
We need the clip
6
notes.
in rebounds.
Come on,
6
man.
in rebounds.
Come on, man.
The next guard in rebounds is 21st, and that's Luka. And how tall is he? 6'7". Westbrook is only 6'3". Huh? Oscar was 6'5". Huh?
Right.
Magic was 6'9". Huh? Go ahead.
Are you done, my man? Thank you. So I saw my man Ray video, and it's interesting, Carl. Me and Ant were just arguing about this last week when we was talking about the top 5. And I understand what Ray is saying, and he knows this because we had a little mini back and forth about Russell Westbrook, but then there was that situation where he, I think he had like this big triple-double, and Stephen A said he didn't care, and Russ's response made me text Ray and say, yo, bro, you probably right. I'm going to keep it 100, Carl. What Ray said, I ain't hear one lie told. And I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to buffer the point of why Ray said, when he talks about winning time, because that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the 75%. But the question everybody should ask when they say, well, it's 75% of the time he wins when he gets a triple-double, you should ask the obvious question, which to buffer Ray's point, what's the 25% when he loses? Well, let me tell you. In the 2 playoff, if he had 4 playoff series, right, he had 2 of them of note. One against Utah and one against Portland. He had a triple-double in 7 games. They lost all 7 of them. They were 5-7. So that's what Ray's point is, that you get them triple-doubles, but in the playoffs, for some strange reason, it doesn't translate to winning. And the reason why I brought up those series is because that Utah series, he lost to a rookie, Donovan Mitchell. He lost to a rookie-led team 4-2. They were favored to win. He had Paul George. The next year, he lost to Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum with Paul George. After 5 games, they lost in 5. That was the same Portland team the year before that got swept in the first round as a 3rd seed with Jrue Holiday and Rajon Rondo. This is the point that everybody's talking about. What Ray's point is that it looks good in the regular season, and shouts out to him for working hard. But we're not going to keep giving. After a while, I'll give you an example. It's like why nobody wants Giannis, why nobody thinks Giannis is an MVP this year, even though he's getting the same numbers. It's because once we keep seeing you fail in the playoffs, then it starts to take a little bit of the steam of your numbers off. And because we keep seeing him, and it's not just, he's playing teams that are supposed to beat him. He's playing teams he's supposed to win against, and he's losing.
Like who? The
Utah Jazz and the
Why was the Utah Jazz was the better team?
The Utah Jazz were not the better team that year.
Yes, they were the better team.
That was the year Paul George was, I believe that was the year Paul George finished 3rd in MVP voting. They had the better team.
The year after.
No, that wasn't that year.
So who's better? We get to go matchup for matchup. But the point is, that's the 4-5 matchup. In a 4-5 matchup, it could go either way. But Ray's point is very simple. When we start looking at players and we look at their numbers, that's the first part. But as we continue in the season and see what they do in the playoffs, evidently this triple-double is not a 75% winning percentage in the playoffs when he gets one. It's a 75% winning percentage mostly in the regular season. So the triple-double is cool. He works hard, but we're not giving nobody extra credit because they work hard. Every NBA player works hard. So shouts out to them for working hard.
Isn't that why?
Let him finish, bro. Let him finish.
Isn't that why Steph is in the MVP conversation?
Go ahead.
Working hard.
But remember,
not because his team winning.
But remember, of course his team is winning. They're on a 4-game winning streak. What are you talking about? But anyways, that's the trap for you. I know Steph triggers you, but the point is very simple.
No, it doesn't. It's just that y'all.
Steph triggers you. I understand it. You're triggered by Steph. I understand that. I understand it. I'm gonna just close it very simple.
Your camera is still off, my brother. You gotta turn your camera back on.
The point is very simple.
Yet. Hold on.
Just to buffer Ray's point again, the point is very simple, and I said it last week. We're going to start looking at certain players, and after a while, if you just only get these numbers, and then when we get to the playoffs, we know you're not getting out of the first round unless you're a number 2. Then now we got to start identifying the numbers. And one more thing, I think it's interesting that you noted that through his first 8 years, you said he only had 8 triple doubles, right?
Right.
But this past 5 years, he's had all these exploding numbers, right?
Right. After now that he has, he has to do it.
Right. But so what I'm saying is that could lend to people's argument of he just only cares about getting numbers so he can be known for that because he can't win nowhere else.
How if he's trying to win?
So he just wants to get numbers.
That's foolish. If he's trying to, that's what he's doing to win.
Ray, you had a point to Anthony's when he mentioned Steph Curry. It's kind of like an alley. Go ahead.
It's funny that this guy mentioned Steph because you look around and respectfully, I let you talk, bro. Please do not talk over me. Let me get this off. I'm setting the tone right now. Don't talk over me. You look around at Steph, and you got this vitriol, this vigor for Curry. And you know what? Everyone knows
that's a lie,
that, and that's all right. It's literally documented, so we don't got to go back.
It's really not.
It is.
I'm gonna mute you. I have to mute him. Like
if I'm not mistaken, Carl, we did a whole debate with Steph.
We did
a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks ago, I was on the panel. He was anti-Steph. It's been documented for a very long time.
I did a Steph KD argument with him, and he didn't like
keeping
Steph.
it real isn't anti.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so Anthony, you're gonna have to do me a favor. Let him finish his point. I know it's hard for you to do that. Just let him finish. Okay, can you do that for me?
He lying on me. Why?
Just let him finish his point.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead,
I mean, he only flourishes when he performs as a jackass. He can't be serious. So the fact remains is you come on here, you talk about Curry. Then I look at Russell Westbrook's teammates and this lie about help. PG's not help? What we talking about? Victor Oladipo had presses. As soon as they got to Indiana, all of a sudden he remembered how to play. That's cat. Victor Oladipo could play. Paul George could play. Now we with Bradley Beal. Again, these are talented wing players in the NBA, and somehow Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook are the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference. So this whole thing about he had to do it and he needed this help, that is not a true statement. The only person who probably didn't belong in the list that I named was Carmelo, because Carmelo was on the other side of his career, and in the situation it wasn't the best fit. But okay. PG was an MVP candidate. How the hell can you say that someone had no help when he played next to a top 3 finisher in the MVP?
Had help or had the better team? Again, it's two different things. Don't try to.
A few minutes ago, because I listened, right. Unlike you, I don't wait to talk. You said that he had to do it because he didn't have the proper team. Now you're saying something else. You don't even know what you're saying.
I just said the same thing. You just repeated what I just said.
Do you just talk to talk? Is that what it is?
You just repeated what I just said. So how did I say something different?
I think you just like to hear yourself. You just said it.
Okay, what I just said.
But all right, you don't even know what you said. That's the problem. You just talk.
Okay, Andres, what are your thoughts here on what Ray said and what Mike said before he left?
All right, to counter Ray's point, I understand we don't like dealing with like injuries, and if you play, you play. But Russ himself said that he was playing through a torn quadricep like the whole beginning of the year for the first 30 games. And you could see it in his stats because once he said he was healthy, he was putting up better numbers. For one. That's for one, right? I'm not going crazy?
No, but I mean, I always say was he on the court?
There we go.
But it's the truth. To me,
it's not the truth, though. You're gonna tell me
on the court.
Listen to me. No. Listen to me. I don't mean to cut your ass. No. Listen to me. I don't mean to cut your ass. You're gonna tell me that Kobe Bryant in Game 7 of 2010, playing with a broken finger, a dislocated knee, and everything of the sort, is the same Kobe Bryant that we saw in 2009. That's what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying, but he's playing.
But that's what you stated, though, because he was on the court.
It doesn't matter. They didn't have point blank period. They didn't have the games.
You played.
Y'all trying to pick out the fact that he's played with Paul George. Yes. He's played, and that's really all y'all can say post KD that he's played. Oh yeah, and then he's played with Harden or whatever, and it didn't work in those systems with those teams. Okay,
these are fallacies because you had people. You look
it
around
didn't
at that
work.
27. You look around at that 2017 Houston Rockets team where they were neck and neck for the MVP vote. That team wasn't filled with world beaters. Why were they better? Why were they better? I got you, Andres. I'm coming to you. But the fact remains is you said something.
They were
about
a better team.
No, go ahead. You said something about efficiency and the importance or lack thereof a few minutes ago. I don't know if you remember saying that.
It's not important.
You mentioned Kobe Bryant. You mentioned Kobe Bryant, right?
Kobe was efficient, bro.
Kobe was efficient, but at the same time, he
was not that efficient. Stop
yes,
it,
he was, bro.
Just let him finish his point. Just let him finish, man. Damn.
Hit the mute button.
You don't understand. Let him finish.
Mute him, Carl. You got
the lying.
I'm gonna mute
the mute button, bro.
Come on, man. Damn.
Again, it's like you got people who talk to hear themselves, and then you got people who know what they're talking about. There's a big difference. Kobe Bryant played in the least efficient time in NBA history. And even by the numbers, when you look it up, he's not as inefficient, nearly as inefficient as the people wanted you to believe he was. Then you go back to the efficiency argument. The biggest difference between LeBron James and Russell Westbrook are not the counting stats. It's the efficiency. The biggest difference between James Harden and Russell Westbrook is efficiency because why? When you have the ball in your hand as much as you do on offense, the objective is to what, Carl? Let me know.
Say again.
This guy.
And what James Harden won?
So can you put him back on mute, please? Because I'm going somewhere. I don't want to hear him. If the objective is to score the basketball, right, as many times as you can, isn't the goal as many times as you can is to be efficient? Isn't that where efficiency comes into play? You can't give it and take it back because you're inefficient. That has been my argument against Russell Westbrook from the beginning. Okay? Go ahead, Andres. You had something to say about efficiency.
So, not to counter Ray's point, but to add to it, Russell Westbrook was efficient his MVP year. Every year after that, the efficiency has dropped. Are we in agreement or no?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I was just curious. When it comes to Kobe, like I don't understand why you know what's funny? So I'm not gonna turn this into a Kobe segment, but like he's getting inducted on Saturday, so I'm gonna bring him up. Every single time people bring up a player in NBA history, people talk about, let's say, Dr. J, for example. So people say Dr. J is better than Kobe because Kobe didn't do A, B, and C. So Kobe isn't as good as A, B, and C, but he's in the conversation with A, B, and C. So how is he not in the conversation? That's for one. Number two, Kobe played in the greatest era of NBA basketball. Whether you're 60 years old or 15, I don't care how old you are. But if you watch the game, the way the spacing was back then when you had Smush Parker, Quan Brown, and no head coach compared to today where people are firing threes. Anthony, you said something about Steph Curry. The reason why the league it is today is because of Steph Curry, not because of Russell Westbrook. Stephen Curry revolutionized the game. Russell Westbrook revolutionized a stat. Steph Curry revolutionized the whole game. In 2015, this man won the MVP, averaging 24 points per game. Why? Because every game was a blowout, and the game was.
Hold on, wait. How is that not the same thing? How is that not revolutionizing the game?
What?
Wait,
no.
what's not revolutionizing?
Did you hear? And did you hear his point?
How is that not? Because Steph Curry revolutionized the stat too, the 3-point shot. Right?
Every team in the NBA
is
one
championship. A triple double is a stat. You can't negate one stat and say the other stats matter. What?
So, Ed, it's clear you did not understand his point at all.
No, it's clear his point was wrong. Right.
Do you understand the difference between?
He doesn't.
What is the difference between a three-point stat and a triple double stat? Tell me.
Championships.
Listen.
Tell me. I'm saying everybody don't have KD to carry him and get lucky enough that the LeBron. I mean not LeBron, but Kyrie and Love get injured. Everybody don't have that luxury.
Can you prove that they would have won if they had them? Can you prove it?
He can't.
The next year. What are you talking about? Can I prove it?
Steph wasn't healthy the next year. That Steph wasn't healthy the next year, bro.
Who wasn't healthy the next year?
But again, going by your standards,
like Carl said, did he play? Did Steph play?
But listen, going by your standards. But again, Anthony, I'm going to use what you just said. You said Kevin Love and Kyrie didn't play. Draymond didn't play in one of the most crucial games. So you want to throw that out there? I can throw that out
Okay,
there
that's
too, right
one
back at you.
game. What about the other? What about the other 6?
Kyrie,
If they win that
That's
game,
one
the
game. What
season's
about the
over.
other 6? They was
But
out
that
a
doesn't
whole
matter.
series.
It doesn't
They was
matter.
out the whole
It
series.
doesn't matter.
That's
what you
one
said.
game.
It doesn't
The
matter.
They was out the
series is
whole
over.
It doesn't
series.
matter. It
Oh,
doesn't
now
matter.
it doesn't matter.
No, because you
one
just
game
basically
doesn't.
talked about a player.
Hold on.
You talked
So
about
two
missing players.
Two
Oh, you're
players.
jumping. Come on.
2 players. What
Why
is
you mad,
Draymond?
man?
Draymond was the 3rd player. He was
Yo,
missing
you're
his
mad.
second
It
and
was the
3rd
second,
fiddle.
bro. What?
Second and 3rd
You
fiddle.
mad. Tell him
You
why
talking
you
about
mad.
2
Okay,
players or
okay.
one?
So you know what? You know what?
No,
You know
no,
what?
no. Carl.
Oh, no, wait.
When
I
does
understand how this
two?
conversation-
When does one? When is one
You
more
see
than
what
2?
Steph does?
Listen.
When is
listen,
one
listen.
more than 2?
Anthony, do you realize, Anthony, let me tell you.
When is one more than 2? Do you realize you're wrong?
Clapping
You
his
just
hands
tried
now.
to
He's
compare.
upset.
You
Anthony,
just tried to
time out.
compare Draymond Green
Anthony, time
to
out.
Kevin.
Okay, I'm gonna mute you.
Oh, man.
Listen.
He sounds so much better.
Time out. I don't understand how we're having a segment about Russell Westbrook and the entire conversation shifts to Steph
You know
Curry.
why?
Keep in
Y'all
mind,
just shifted. No, y'all just don't blame it on me. Y'all just shifted it.
entire
Y'all
conversation.
just shifted it. Don't blame that on me. Don't blame that on me. Y'all just shifted
No, the
it.
entire conversation shifted.
Y'all
Yo,
just
Carl,
shifted
he
it.
don't even know what he says. He just
You
talks.
just brought that
Yeah,
up.
just talk.
No, I used him as a reference. I used
I have to be
a reference to your hypocrisy. A reference to y'all hypocrisy.
All right, listen, we're gonna keep going in circles.
Hypocrisy.
Okay, so
I
Mike,
used him as a reference. Y'all brought him up.
Okay, so Mike, let me ask you this to close out because I gotta move on.
Idiocracy on your
So
part.
Mike,
You don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so Mike, let me
I
ask you this
do
to close
clearly,
out.
which is why you don't have anything to say. But I don't know what I'm talking
Anthony,
about.
give me a second.
That's all you have to
That's all the
say.
people who think
That's
you're valid.
all you have
You're
to
not
say.
valid, bro.
That's all. You're not saying
All your
anything.
words.
You're not
That's
saying
it.
anything.
Emotional
You're not
I
saying
don't care about
anything.
your opinion.
You're not
That's
saying
worth
nothing.
anything.
Okay.
Again,
not
what's
worth
the
anything.
difference between the 3 point stat
No,
and the
No.
triple
Don't
double
end the
stat?
segment. Come on.
Championship.
What's the
Because they're
difference
just
between the
talking
3
over
point
each other.
stat
It's
and the
not even
triple
saying
double
Use the
stat?
mute button. Use the mute button, bro.
Jackass question from a jackass. It's okay.
Again, everybody don't have KD. Everybody don't have KD. Come save them and rock them.
Okay,
Right.
Mike.
Everybody don't have KD to do that.
You don't know what you're
Mike, fill
talking
in the
about,
blank.
bro. I don't
Everybody
know why
don't,
you
you
on
know.
this panel.
Okay, Mike,
You
fill in
know?
the blank to end. Russell Westbrook legacy is
Legend who couldn't win.
Andres. Russell Westbrook's legacy is
A top 10 point guard of all time that made triple doubles look easy.
Anthony. Russell Westbrook's legacy is
Call him by his name. Mr. Triple Doubles is top 5 point guard all time. Book it. Of course, first ballot Hall of Fame. We're not even gonna go there, whatever. And yeah, just leave it at that. Mr. Triple Doubles. That's what his legacy is.
Yep.
Mr. Triple Doubles.
Ray Jarvis. Russell Westbrook's legacy is
The results don't match the stats.
Carl, Russell Westbrook's legacy is
Mr. Triple Double. That's
Okay.
honestly that comes to
Okay.
Mr.
Okay.
Triple-double. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me here on this panel. I think we went back-to-back weeks about Russell Westbrook. I think I have to retire this whole argument. Because
I think you made this the last segment, bro.
No, this is it.
Man.
It's over for this. The Sports Hit List, we will have an NBA special for the play-in tournament. We're going to tape that on Monday, so please look out for that. And good luck to you guys. Make sure you listen to the Gray Area, I know, and the Rap Roundtable, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
I'm not gonna get promoted. All right, I see.
Mr. Numbers, go ahead, promote the
Nah.
podcast.
I see what it was, bro.
Yo, I'm sorry.
True colors,
You
bro.
know what? That was for that comment that you made last night about my team. I saw you in the street.
Yeah. Join the playing
Yeah.
tournament,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah, yeah.
We're going back, baby.
Hey.
For the playing tournament.
Everybody sign a petition. Kobe for the logo. Y'all already know. Sign a petition.
Go to sleep.
Kobe for the logo.
You guys take care. I'll
Go to
talk to you
sleep.
soon. All right. Well, that was pretty entertaining. We have these guys here discussing Russell Westbrook. It's the conversation that clearly never ends. For some reason, this conversation goes on and on and on and on, over and over and over again. And for me, I think it's time we retire this Russell Westbrook conversation. Clearly, people are going to love him. People are going to hate him. You can't ignore what he's accomplished in his career. People are going to say, he's not a winner, and everyone's going to have their own set of opinions about it. So I think it's time I lay this Russell Westbrook debate to rest, because it's never, both sides are never going to agree about it. And I think, Anthony, there's something wrong with him and Steph Curry, because it is a trigger point. And we know this. Anytime you mention Steph Curry in front of Anthony, it just turns into something that you didn't imagine. Because again, we were having a conversation about Russell Westbrook. All of a sudden now it's shifted to Steph Curry. Thank you, everyone, for pulling up into the comments. Right now, we're going to talk some NFL. I'm going to bring in my NFL team on deck. We got the NFL schedule. We'll also talk some Tim Tebow. I have Chuck and Travis in the building. They're coming through. And as you know, the NFL never really has an off season. It's the non-playing season, according to Travis, as he comes in. Travis, how you doing, sir?
What's going on, sir? Are we done with all the madness?
Yes, we are. We're laying
this
the
is why
Russell
you're supposed
Westbrook.
to start with us.
Listen, we're laying the Russell Westbrook debate to rest. I'm sorry. We had a simple holdup. These guys wouldn't be able to let it go, but you guys are here right now. Chuck, how you doing, man?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Good. So let's talk into the NFL schedule. You guys are blowing up my phone. You guys are acting like kids on Christmas, talking about this matchup and that matchup. The schedule's released at 8. We have people having leaks. So Travis is excited because you got the Jets versus the Panthers week 1. So you could tell the smile on his face. He's itching to talk, right? You could tell how happy.
I mean, listen. I don't get as hype about the schedule release because it's technically out for months. This is just the day we know when teams are playing when. You know what I mean? Because you know who you're playing the next season. They just don't let you know when. So the fact that, now we know we got the Jets week 1, with our new former Jet QB, I guess he'll get an opportunity to show you guys, listen, y'all was dumb. You know what I mean? Like, this is what happened. This is how good I am when you put weapons around me, guys. You know what I mean? Like, y'all gonna have the opportunity to, and then y'all coming in there with y'all brand new shiny QB. You know what I mean? I'm just saying the Jets. It's gonna be a rough one for you guys. It's okay.
Ooh.
According to Mike Phillips in the comments, he says it's like the WWE. It's like they schedule like it's for booking, for good booking. Chuck, what are your thoughts here with the schedule?
Unlike Travis, I love the schedule release, and that's only because the NFL is so different compared to other sports because they only play 17. Well, now they play 17 games, so every game matters. And you always see the stat that like when a team starts 0-2, it's like a 13% chance to make the playoffs. So you want the schedule because you want to see what your first 2 games are and everything. So and it just brings joy because we're that much closer to the NFL season. It's like the draft, schedule release, OTAs, training camp, boom, the season's here. So I'm hyped.
All right. So Travis, are you going to be watching tonight at 8:00, or is it something you'll bypass? You'll have on in the background.
I mean, that's something I have on in the background just to see. Because when the schedule comes out, I mainly want to see, okay, to me, what's important is when is that bye week? That's what's important to me. Like, is it early in the season? Is it mid-season? Is it late season? Because I think most teams would kind of like to have it mid-season, maybe towards the late season if you're a playoff team. That early bye week in the first, if you get that, when bye weeks are usually around week 3, right? If you get those early couple bye weeks, they kind of suck because then you got a long stretch ahead of you. But that's mainly what I like to look out for when that bye week. I want to see who's on Thanksgiving, who are the Thanksgiving games. We kind of knew that Tampa, I heard rumors that it was always going to be either Dallas or the Bills for that opening night. So the fact that they put Dallas there that opening, that's an easy brainer right there. It's the Dallas Cowboys. We all know what kind of ratings draw they are, but it's something I'll have on mainly in the background just to check out when some certain teams are matched up.
Chuck, I'm sure you'll be watching the whole thing, right?
Absolutely not. Carl, it's Wednesday night. I can't. I gotta watch Masked Singer, Fire, and then PD. I can't.
You're right.
Charles, you into the Chicago life too?
You are too? You, Travis, you watch the Chicago shows?
Yeah, we in there. Look at that.
Wow.
I'm a couple weeks behind, but I be on
Listen,
it though.
PD is the truth. PD is the truth.
PD. It's to me. It's top. It's PD, Fire, then Mad. Mad is kind of
Yeah, Mad I don't watch, but PD with Voight. Listen, that's my show, man. Me and Chuck go back and forth. Listen, we have a rule though, no spoilers. We'll ask first, did you watch it? And then when you say you watched it, then we discuss it. That's how we roll.
I'm a couple weeks behind. I got to catch up though. I'm with y'all.
Nice. All right, no doubt. So before I let you guys go, real quick, Tim Tebow was news before we had the NFL schedule. Tim Tebow is coming back to play tight end for the Jags. We know it's about nepotism, but a lot of fans and even players are upset and saying, "Wait a minute, this guy Tim Tebow's getting an opportunity, and Colin Kaepernick still doesn't have an opportunity or a job. How is that even fair?" So, Chuck, what are your thoughts here with that?
First and foremost, I'm going to say I do not agree with the Tim Tebow signing at all. It's stupid. He hasn't played in the NFL in like a zillion years. Urban Meyer is a schmuck. I don't know if I'm able to say that on the live, but that's what he is.
Oh, you
it's
are.
A dumb
it's
sign.
okay. I'm pretty sure it's okay.
Thank you. Right? But to compare it to Colin Kaepernick is just a lazy take. Kaepernick hasn't played in the league in how long? He's never coming back. He sued the NFL. The NFL is not going to bring him back. We know this. We see it time and time again. We've had discussions on this. It is what it is. As much as we think he should probably get a shot in the NFL, it's not going to happen. So to compare it, to everything is not going to. It's just a lazy take to get people talking. Second off, Carl, you're 100% right, and you said it in your opening. It is nepotism. Tebow only got signed because of Urban Meyer. Before they signed him, there was no market for Tim Tebow. Teams were not lining up at his door, to come have him play for them. Tebow was nothing, not even a commodity, because Urban Meyer wasn't the coach anywhere. But now Urban Meyer is the coach of the Jaguars. They're neighbors. They've been friends since their Florida days, all right? That's why Tebow signed. So stop comparing it to Colin Kaepernick. Tebow was only signed because of Urban Meyer. If Urban Meyer was still retired for his medical reasons, Tim Tebow would not have an NFL job. And you could put quotes around NFL job because he's not signed to the roster. He's going to be in training camp where they have 90 guys. So he's not even on the NFL roster as of yet. So if he goes there and he shows that he's still doo-doo, especially at the tight end position, he's not going to make the team at all. And I don't expect him to make the team. I just think Meyer's just bringing him into camp as a voice. That's all. Because to sign him to the 53-man roster, that's going to be bad for the locker room, and Meyer's going to lose a lot of his guys.
Travis, what are your thoughts here when it comes to Tim Tebow and comparing him to Colin Kaepernick? Fans, we see the memes. We see all the time how, Tim Tebow was kneeling and now he's back in the league, and Colin Kaepernick did the same thing and now he's not. What are your thoughts here?
I mean, I have to agree with Chuck that it's kind of a lazy take, because if you think about it, yes, they were both kneeling. But if you think about it in terms of what they were kneeling for, Colin Kaepernick unfortunately pissed people off. We don't think he should have pissed people off, but we all know in this country there are things that people take very to heart: patriotism and religion. So therefore, Tim Tebow was out there kneeling for religion, and Colin Kaepernick, in the eyes of people who are not that bright, believe he was going against patriotism, which we all know the truth that that's not what he was going against. So to sit here and compare the two, I think, like Chuck said, is a lazy take. But as far as the Tim Tebow thing, I gotta agree with a lot of Chuck said, except for one thing. I think Tim Tebow does make the team simply because of nepotism. I think he's gonna make the team. It's gonna be weird. Somebody's gonna lose a roster spot because Urban Meyer wants Tim Tebow on that team. Because
Urban Meyer is never really fair, right? Nepotism's never.
It's not. But we all know in life that it's not what you know,
it's
but who you know.
This is true.
You know what I mean?
Very, very
so
true.
To sit here and say that Urban Meyer, he's on a flex trip right now. He wants to go out there and flex his muscle. They ran his strength coach out of town, so now he wants to sit here and say, "All right, I'm gonna bring in Tim Tebow." You know what I mean? But like Chuck said, nobody was checking for Tebow. Tebow was out here. Didn't he retire from the minor league like a couple months ago?
He did, and then he also was with the Mets. Didn't he play some baseball a little bit, right? Something like that.
Right,
minor leaguer there too. Yeah, he was all over the place.
It's clear. A lot of people talking about Tim Tebow out here living the life of a Make-A-Wish kid. Like he just out here, he like fantasy. He getting all types of fantasy camp lives. Like he get to go to baseball. He get to go back to football. It's just like I don't get it. The guy. Some people think he's addicted to the spotlight, which may be true. You know what I mean? He might go out here and paint religion all over his chest, but that man sure do need to be in the spotlight a lot, man. But I think it's a ridiculous move to sit here and change positions. Why you didn't want to change positions? What was it, 9 years ago when they was trying to make you change positions, dude?
Well, I mean, given the fact of Jacksonville, who they drafted, could they bring in, even if they wanted to bring him in as a like they couldn't? Right?
No, don't listen. There are opportunities. I think it's a marketing ploy because Jacksonville is near the University of Florida. So therefore, he's got a lot of ties to the area right there. So it's going to sell some tickets. You're going to get some fans in the stands. He might come in there on some Taysom Hill plays or something like that, just to keep Trevor Lawrence out of that. But at the end of the day, this is irrelevant for the simple fact he doesn't need to be on that team. To see him try and switch positions is ridiculous at this point. You had your opportunity to do that 9-10 years ago when they wanted you to. But now all of a sudden, because you ain't got nothing else to do, you want to. But hey, I'm not mad at Tebow though. Listen, like they said, take advantage of the opportunities that are given to you. It just seems that a lot of opportunities are given to this guy.
Yeah, right. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. I think, Chuck, you're going to stick around for some baseball. I got a question. Travis, I'll see you later. Let me know.
Wait, that's it? Basketball was on here for an hour, and that's it?
So what? You know the vibes already. Listen, you get your own pre-show during NFL season. Like, you get a whole hour.
And first of all, shout out to my man Ed. Always talking about people being emotional. I seen a load of emotions in that video. You know,
all you have to say is Steph Curry. All you have to say is Steph, and he just gets in his.
I'm just saying, it seemed like he got a little bit emotional right there. That's all.
A little. I had to mute him like 4 times. What are you talking about? A little. That's the most I've used the mute button.
I was trying to give him some credit.
Used the mute button 4 times. 4. Like, I've never used it that much because he doesn't listen. Like, I'm yelling at him like, bro, come on, man. Let them make their points. You know, Ant's going to be Ant.
Exactly.
It's Anthony. Travis, take care, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, later, fellas.
All right. You're watching the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. Chuck is going to stick around as we transition into baseball. I'm going to bring in another contributor, Mr. Eddie Gonzalez. I have a surprise question to ask you guys. Mr. Eddie, how you doing, sir? Are you here?
What's going on? What's up, Maestro?
What's going on, man? Thank you.
Oh, man, I'm on with Chuck.
Yes, you
What's
are.
up,
So
finally.
I normally don't talk about baseball because the Smoke and Mirrors podcast, they like to steal all the baseball segments away from me. But I think today I scooped them on one because they're not going to talk about this and they're not going to, so anytime I try to do baseball, and they're smart because their shows are on Monday and Friday, the beginning of the week and the end of the week. So they get all the stories, but the media man always has something up his sleeve. So Greg Polius posted a status the other day talking about which pitcher would you go in Game 7. So I saw the traction that it received, and I said to myself, why not ask this question on the show live? So I'm going to ask you guys this. A Game 7 situation, the series is tied 3-3 to win the World Series. Who is your starting pitcher? Chuck.
Madison Bumgarner. It is that simple. The question is not who's the best pitcher over his career and whatnot. There have been plenty of pitchers in their careers that have been good during the regular season and then pooped the bed when it came to playoff time. We've seen Madison Bumgarner go out there, put the Giants on his back, and win them a ring. So the easiest answer is Madison Bumgarner.
Okay, now, Eddie, you seem to have trouble answering the question in the chat when I asked it the first time. You gave me 2-word answers, and I told you that you failed. So let's try it again. I'm going to give you a retake. Game 7, the series is tied. World Series is tied. To win you a championship, your starting pitcher is.
Can I ask a question? Sorry. Are we going by the image? No. Are we going by the image or mine? Because the image didn't have the pitcher I would pick.
Listen, I'm going to ask it again, my friend. I'm going to say it one more time. Game 7.
Because
he
wasn't on the sheet. He wasn't on the meme.
No. Oh, no, not on the meme. And
in general,
the meme.
Sandy Koufax.
Because why?
Sandy Koufax was the most dominating pitcher for a certain amount of time, for 9 years, ever. The problem that he's not listed as the best pitcher ever is because he didn't have longevity. He didn't have longevity because he had I think he had back problems or so. He retired early. Other than that, the best pitcher for a certain amount of time, I take the ball with Sandy Koufax.
Now, we talk about the other pitchers that people mentioned, Pedro Martinez. I think, Eddie, you had mentioned them too when you looked at the picture. And Chuck made his point about Madison Bumgarner. But do we have any other possible like could a Pedro Martinez be in that position?
I mean, yes, but when I think about Pedro, the first thing that comes to mind is when he pooped the bed at the stadium and everybody started chanting, "Who's your daddy?"
Oh, in 2003?
Yeah. So, and then he went to the press conference and said, "The Yankees are my daddy," which shows that it got to him. So I think that kind of eliminates Pedro, even though I love Pedro, but I think that eliminates him.
Okay.
For me, it's when Pedro got shellacked when he pitched for the Phillies. He got creamed in the World Series. And when he was with the Yankees, when he lost to the Yankees, he was losing 2-1.
But to be fair, that year though, he was a little older.
He was older, but
older,
that's still in the World Series, As far as it goes, when he was losing, like Chuck said, to the Yankees, it was like 2-1 games where someone like who was it? Posada hit that little dunker to win the game, or no, to tie the game. If I'm not mistaken. You know, like I would, yeah. Other pitcher.
Other pitchers, there were some other pitchers. I think Greg Maddux was on
Greg
that.
Maddux.
Greg Maddux was on there. Randy Johnson. You have Kurt Schilling. There's some pitchers who've been in that kind of situation. You know, there's
maybe
a
like a John Smoltz.
John Smoltz, possibly.
Smoltz had that classic game, I think, in '95, right? Where he outdueled. It was zeros. Who did he outduel? Maybe it was '92. I see the documentary all the time on it too.
Right, but could he be in that kind of situation and bring it home for you?
I think so. I think Smoltz was a big time pitcher, and then I know he got moved to the closer role later on in his career, but I think I would be comfortable with Smoltz going out there in a Game 7.
Verlander. I might go Verlander too.
Verlander
in the playoffs is money. Right. Money.
Not in the last World Series though. Remember?
Okay, well, let me ask this since I know you guys are. Well, let me say this since you guys are Yankee fans, right? A Game 7 situation, World Series on the line, a Yankee pitcher, starting pitcher. Who do you go with?
Jeez.
You know I had to stump you. That's a tough one. Come on, guys, don't give me that.
Andy Pettitte. Andy Pettitte. I don't think any of the moment. I mean, like peak Andy Pettitte. I'm not talking about as he got older. I'm talking about up until like maybe 2000.
You're talking about like late 90s Andy Pettitte into 2000s
mid to late 90s, early 2000s Andy Pettitte.
But I mean, listen, you have some candidates. You have
that might be recency bias though.
You have Roger Clemens. You know, there are some candidates. You know, like yes, Mike Messina possibly. I don't know. It's Chuck. You didn't pick anyone.
I was gonna say Pettitte, but I don't want to show like, you know, the recency bias. I'm trying to think of like players from like the golden days.
Pick Whitey Ford.
Yeah, like, but I've seen Pettitte pitch. I never saw like Whitey Ford pitch, so I guess I got to go with Pettitte because I actually saw Pettitte. You know, I can't comment on people that I never saw perform. I mean, yeah, we've heard stories and everything, but we never.
Yeah, but I mean, but listen, I don't think that's fair to those people. Just because you didn't see them perform doesn't mean that they didn't.
Right, no, but that's what I'm saying.
Right, but I mean, I think you have to look at the trajectory of the Yankees' history or even baseball history to see, you know, you're going into that kind of situation. Who would you put in that with the pressure being on and everything going in there? Who would you actually put on the mound to get you at least 4 or 5 solid innings?
You can go Louisiana Lightning as well. You know,
I was going to say
Guidry. Yeah. If you tell me to closer, we know who it is. But to start, I think I'm gonna have to stay.
Well, yeah, you know what? I didn't want to go closer because that's the blatant obvious. Everyone's gonna know who to go with. I just figured just how many comments that it received. I figured I'd ask it here and see what you guys would think about it. I think Declan's gonna come in and have his thoughts real quick.
Oh boy,
we know he's gonna have something to say about it. But before he comes in, guys, how's the baseball season looking for you so far?
About what I thought.
Which is what?
I thought they usually pick up. They usually pick up after May. So usually I know they usually struggle in April. So I anticipate them having a solid rest of the year. I see them still winning about 95, 96 games, even though they lost like 15 times. I think that they'll still win about 95 or so games.
Chuck.
I mean, I think the Yankees are going to win, like Eddie said, their 90, 95 games just based on talent alone, but they've been like dreadful at the plate. And which is crazy because I thought their pitching wasn't going to hold up, but hitting, they've been so bad. Hicks has been bad. Gardner, Frazier, Glaber, the list goes. Like the only one constantly hitting is Stanton, and which is surprising because Stanton was a strikeout machine.
You didn't mention Gary.
Yeah, even Sanchez isn't. The whole team's not hitting. It's just so frustrating just to watch them like just look clueless at the plate. And
thankfully, they moved Hicks out of the 3-hole. You know,
right?
That was big.
But you even saw last night where if they don't hit the long ball, they're not going to win games. Like they need to hit homers to score, which is really bad. And
that's been done. That's been done for the past bunch of years. They can't play small ball.
They can't, and it's so frustrating. I think I want to see them call up Florio. They need to inject something into this team. This team's dead. They're flat.
Yeah.
And Eddie, do you know what's been making me sick? Like, I want to bang my head into the wall. Every time Stanton comes up, no matter what he does, they show his exit velocity. I don't care if he hit the ball 120 miles per hour. If he gets out, he gets out. Just because he hits the ball hard does not make the out less of an out. It's still an out. So I don't care.
They're selling the cyber metrics.
Yeah,
All right, we have
Twitter, everything.
We have some more contributors joining us here.
Oh boy!
I believe Manny Schefter is pulling up to.
Yeah.
Here we go. Mr. Manny, sir, how you doing, man?
Yeah.
So I gotta ask everyone. I gotta ask the same question. Game 7, World Series is tied 3-3. Who is on the mound to win and take you home?
Pedro Martinez. That's it. Plain and simple. I'm going with the man from the motherland. That's it. You can say it's biased or whatever, but Pedro Martinez is literally one of the greatest pitchers. And everybody brings up typical Yankee fans like Chuck who want to be like, oh, he said the Yankees are his daddy. Are you really serious? We're going because he said they're his daddy? Did he not win in 2004 against the Yankees to win the chip and destroy the curse that was for 86 years? Was he not pitching? Okay, then. I had to bring that back up. You think I want to bring up 2004? I hate 2004 for that. Come on, let's be real now. All right? And Eddie, you bringing up Gary Sanchez, what did I tell you? You've been very quiet, and then now you're going to bring up Gary Sanchez. Let me tell you this right now, Carl. Let me tell you this right now, Carl. The Yankees are not winning the World Series this year. It's over for them. Let's go White Sox. That's it.
Oh, man.
Are you trading in fellas live?
See this hat? I'm telling you right now, the Yankees are not winning anything this year.
Yo,
and if somehow, in some miracle, if the Yankees win the World Series this year, y'all can come at me, y'all can give me all the smoke. But I'm telling you right now, the Yankees are not winning it this year. That's it.
Manny.
Well, that says that. Today. I mean, okay, so Manny seems pretty frustrated. I don't know if when you guys pissed him off.
Time out.
He needs a timeout.
You don't read the baseball chat? You don't read the baseball chat? Come on.
Listen, I got a baseball, hockey, football, basketball, soccer, pro wrestling. I'm like all over. So I got like 7 or 8. It's too much. I try to catch up. Declan, real quick. You have a starting pitcher for Game 7. Series tied 3-3. Your starting pitcher is
Matt Harvey.
Because
all time. You did not just treat that as a real answer.
Have a good day.
Oh,
all time. If we're talking all time, Game 7, I'd have to go with Sandy Koufax. I mean, what he did in a short amount of time is unparalleled in MLB history. He's the best pitcher, the GOAT, in my opinion.
And we have a special guest. He's from the basketball. He may be upset at me because I
should have kept it that way.
Right? He's on the basketball. He's on the football team for the.
Time out. He disrespects baseball on a constant basis. Why should he be on the baseball?
Listen, my executive.
What is he talking about? Because I know it's just not me.
My executive. Hold on. So time out.
I literally said that baseball is the best sport to watch and play. Stop it.
My executive, Mr. Ziggy said get Andres in. So I listened to my fellow executive.
Yes, sir.
Get him in. So Andres, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked my panel. A Game 7 situation, series tied 3-3. Your starting pitcher to bring you home is.
All right. So 2 things. Number 1, the Yankees pitcher is Andy Pettitte. Number 2, my pitcher for Game 7 is Madison Bumgarner. And just because of this, in 2014, in a Game 7, the Giants were up 3-1. And Madison Bumgarner had like 3 days rest. And the Giants were like, you know what? We're going to give you the ball. He was like, all right, give me the ball. And he went out there and he pitched a spectacular gem. If you've been living under a rock, in that Game 7, the Royals had a triple in the bottom of the 9th. And it was, I think, 2 outs left. 2 outs or 1 out. I think it was 2. And everyone was like, oh, they're panicking. They're about to lose. And then Pablo Sandoval caught that ball in foul territory, did the cross, and the Giants won the 3rd World Series in 5 years. No Pedro Martinez. I don't know why we brought up Justin Verlander, the perennial choker in World Series. That man has the same amount of World Series wins as I do, and I don't play baseball professionally. So enough with the Verlander talking in Game 7. That's all I got to say.
Right.
I think a fair point with the Bumgarner thing is that he didn't start that game though.
Yeah, bro, he came in as a reliever. He got the last 18 outs, if I'm not mistaken, 15 outs.
Yeah. Well, I'm breaking balls because the question is who's starting.
Technically, yeah, who's starting? Yeah,
so you can just
you
start Sandy Koufax, and then you can give Bumgarner the ball.
This guy, man, you must be fun at parties, bro. No, you got me. You got me. You got me good. No, you got me good. You got me.
But like, think about it though.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead, Eddie.
I looked it up on my phone. Okay. Sandy Koufax got 2 World Series MVPs, and Madison Bumgarner got 1. They both got 3 World Series, and every time that Sandy Koufax pitched in the playoffs, it was a World Series because you went pennant and went right to the World Series. So realistically, every time he pitched in the postseason, it was the World Series. So.
I'm with the Sandy.
Timeout.
What?
Madison.
What? Look it up.
Okay.
Sandy Koufax every time he pitched in the World Series, every time he pitched in a game in the postseason or the World Series.
The World Series back in the day was you win the pennant and you go to the World Series.
Yes.
That's how it
Okay.
So
That's
every
how
time
it is
he
today
pitched in the
too.
postseason, it was the World Series.
You just said every time he pitches in the postseason, they win the championship.
It was the World Series because there is no postseason. There was no ALCS, no NLCS or whatever. It was the World Series. That's what
There
I'm
was
saying.
only so what you're saying is there was only 2 teams in the playoffs. That's what you're saying?
And yeah, it was the World Series. It went from the pennant to the World Series. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Chuck. Educate us. Go ahead.
In the World Series, Mr. Madison Bumgarner.
All right.
Yeah. Is 4-0 with a .25 ERA. He's given up 1 earned run in like 36 innings. That ends the discussion.
The GOAT.
Well,
The
there
GOAT.
it is.
Mr. World Series.
The GOAT. The real GOAT.
You want to talk about a discussion right now? We're giving the whole GOAT thing. Bumgarner is not a Hall of Famer.
Well, he's not a Hall of Famer. That's fine.
He's not going to be a Hall of Famer. So
That's fine.
if we're going with
going to be a Hall of
He's
Famer.
the best playoff pitcher of our generation.
not.
That's fine.
That's fine. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer. Out of all the greats who have played baseball, you're telling me you're going to roll out Game 7. And no disrespect to Bumgarner, he's a hell of a postseason pitcher, one of the best in that regard. But you're saying out of all the pitchers to play baseball, you're going to take a guy who's not even going to be in the Hall of Fame.
And I can easily.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Hold on. Let the professor answer that question. That's easy. You go based off experience. Madison Bumgarner's been in those situations
Numerous times.
regardless of his not making the Hall of Fame. It's the same thing as asking someone you want a 3-point shot to win you a game, who has a better chance of winning, regardless if that person's even in the Hall
I
of
want
Fame.
Iguodala. Sorry.
But you know that person is successful at what they do. They have the experience. They have the resume.
If you
As Chuck just told us,
if
why
you're gonna
would
tell
you
me
experience?
Listen, Declan, in my humble opinion, if you're going to tell me, would I rather have Kershaw's career or Bumgarner, 120%, I'm going to say Kershaw. If you're going to tell me, would you rather have Bumgarner's postseason success or Kershaw, you're going to put a gun to my head, and I'm going to say Bumgarner. Can we all agree on that statement?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna put a gun to your head, but yeah, that's a fair statement.
Declan, and Madison Bumgarner will be a Hall of Famer.
I don't think so.
He doesn't have
Pragmatics is still better.
Doesn't have the regular season.
I'm telling you, based off his postseason alone, that's going to get him in.
All right.
I don't think so. First of all, can I just say something about Sandy Koufax really quickly? He had an ERA under 1 in the. He had an ERA under 1 in the World Series also. So it's not like Bumgarner's.
Was it .37?
That's Eddie. That's a great point.
He pitched more innings. Madison Bumgarner only pitched 36 innings in the World Series, and this guy pitched 57.
By the way.
Can I say one thing before y'all end this? Based on what everybody has said about Madison Bumgarner, he should be in the Hall of Fame.
I think so.
Because if you see it like this, we go about playoff success, obviously in the regular season as well. There's probably guys in the Hall of Fame, and I'll probably do the research for it. I don't have it now, but there's probably guys in the Hall of Fame that are terrible in the postseason, but did amazing in the regular season. So at the end of the day, it's like just because you don't get that many wins, like look at Jacob deGrom. The man barely got wins in his early on in the career.
Wins is not a pitcher stat.
But they still acknowledge it though.
No,
exactly. So why do they? So why is it
still count it?
It's not a
Exactly.
pitcher stat though.
But they still count it though. They
But
still
it's
look
not
at
a
it.
pitcher
stat.
stat.
So
Hold on.
so
It's
what's
a
the
stat. It's just meaningless.
so what's the purpose?
Exactly.
So
Okay.
it's a stat though,
So-
but you just said it wasn't a
But
stat. It's a stat.
Exactly, but it's a stat.
It's a stat, but
stat.
it's meaningless. It doesn't have any correlation to the pitcher.
It actually does in a way because it's his team.
No, it does
It's a
not.
team game at the end of the day.
No, it does not.
You could
So
pitch
then
him-
why
you
do they
could
keep
pitch a
count of it? So
perfect-
then why do they keep count of it and keep record of how many wins and losses they have?
Because someone, it has to go like on their resume, on their games, but it's not.
It means something
Listen,
clearly if they keep track of
Talk
it.
to
No,
me, Professor.
I don't understand. I hate when we try to rewrite history and try to change.
We can
what
do
they
this another day, bro.
No,
We can
it's
do
not
this
a matter
another
of
day.
doing it another day.
How are you?
But how do you try to tell
how you
something?
miss the numbers? Hold on, you miss the numbers, and then when we actually bring up numbers on something, a specific stat, you say it's not a stat, and then you try to flip it.
Wins
Don't do
is
that,
not a
dude.
pitcher stat. Like when you look at a pitcher A and pitcher
Again,
B.
so then if
Wait,
it's
wait,
not a stat,
no.
then why do they
I'll let you
keep it?
talk.
So
Stop,
we go by
stop,
losses too. So losses.
No, we don't look at
either,
losses
right?
either. Who cares
What
about
happened to
losses?
this great
You don't care about
conversation?
losses. No, it's not a great conversation. It's just trying to break down. They keep it as a stat. Clearly, they keep wins and losses. Whenever
But
they do
it's
the
not-
opening graphic,
I'm
they
with
tell you
Carl.
how many wins and how
What
many
makes-
losses they have.
What
So
makes
how is it?
what makes pitcher A better than pitcher B is not wins and losses. That's what I'm trying to say, bro.
But Andres,
20 years ago.
the great pitchers win. The great pitchers
No,
win.
DeGrom is not a great pitcher.
No,
That's
no,
what
no,
you're
no. He's the exception. He's the exception.
What?
He's
No,
the
we're not.
exception.
No.
He-
Come on, you see this, right?
Hold on.
I'm not going crazy?
Can I just say something quick?
All-time pitchers win. Oh, look, Greg Maddux, 350 wins.
What was his
Nolan
ERA?
Ryan, 300
What was his
something.
ERA?
Who? Greg Maddux?
Greg
Like
Maddux,
3.1 something.
Okay,
Low
that's a good
ERA.
ERA. Okay, he
Very
was a
low
great
ERA.
pitcher.
But it's in the conversation. When the people have a stat saying who's going to be the next pitcher to win 300 games, that won't ever
Doesn't
happen.
matter. Rick Porcello has a Cy Young on his shelf at home that has Justin Verlander's name on it.
Listen. At the end of the day, for me, when you say it's not a stat, they keep it as a stat. Like it may
Yeah,
be,
I
just
just
said it's not a pitcher.
but it's still it's not. But they keep.
Hold
it.
up, Declan wanted to say something. Declan, what were we gonna say, bro?
Yeah,
Talk to
okay.
us.
What I just wanted to know was, if Eddie's out here saying that, okay, we can't. Jacob deGrom is the exception. Andres, I want to know why having an exception is a problem. If we're gonna make an exception to an entire statistical column,
Because it's
in
not.
wins.
Oh, wait, let me raise my hand. I'm sorry. Because it's not just Jacob deGrom. There's numerous pitchers. How many times has Garrett Cole went out there, gotten 7 innings and 10 strikeouts, and the bullpen blows it?
I don't know. I mean, he also went 19-0 in 20 starts and got the win every time. So
Because
the exception
he had the
one.
greatest offense in baseball. What?
But you just used Garrett Cole's a horrible example. You could have named probably 30 other pitchers before Garrett Cole, and I would have been like, oh, that's a good example.
What
Let's
was
do
Garrett
that.
Cole's ERA?
Like 1 point
Like,
something?
oh,
Like
I mean,
1.27?
Oh, 73 or something.
Listen, Andres,
Jacob
you just gave me
deGrom
an
had
idea.
less-
You just gave me an idea for a new segment I'll start working on for possibly next week.
Yes,
talking
sir.
about what's
There we
moving.
go.
All right, I gotta say one more thing. So, if you're believing on the rock, ESPN did a story on Drew Robinson, and if you know me, I am someone that speaks against mental health because I've suffered from mental health issues. I don't like to talk about it, but Carl knows because I text him from time to time because I deal with a lot of anxiety. Drew Robinson, he tried to kill himself. I think it was last year, and he lost his eye in the process. And yesterday in a AAA game, he hit a home run, and he was pointing at his parents that everything was okay. It's okay to speak up. It's okay to be alone, but you need to, if you don't feel comfortable telling someone, you need to find someone that you feel comfortable with, whether it's a psychologist, whether it's your best friend. If you don't feel comfortable with your parents, there's someone out there, and you're wanted, and you shouldn't feel alone, and you shouldn't feel for a reason to kill yourself, because suicide, it should never be an option. It should never go through your thick skull. So shout out to Drew Robinson. Shout out to Jeff Paston for covering that story, covering well, because opening up about something as serious as that is not ever easy. And I also want to give a shout out to Jalen Rose because he was crying on the set, remembering his mom and his grandmother. And I've told Carl this numerous times, and if you know me, I've said this like at least 10 times. You only get one mother in life. Like, that's it. Like, people trying to say it's the same thing with parents and stuff, but your mother is the one that brought you into this world, and you only get one of them. So appreciate her while she's here, because the day she's gone, you can't say sorry for whatever action you may have caused the last 24 hours.
That's truth, man. Listen, when it comes to mental health, I mean, everyone is going through something. I struggle with it myself, and I'm not shy to say it's hard out there. And I think we should never underestimate mental health, and you can't tell someone how they feel or how they should feel. And everything you said about moms is true. Like I said in my post in social media, I'm a mama's boy, and I'm not afraid to say it. I love my mom, and I'm sure everyone here has
Same
feelings towards
here.
that. So we all understand it. And Andres, thank you for that, man, and always being outspoken to talk about topics that are not just sports, because we are humans, and we
At
all
the
go
end
through
of the
different things.
also, you guys are not alone. And I said this to Carl, and I know plenty of people have reached out to Carl during this whole pandemic. The sports hit list is what got us continuing going, because we actually get to speak about a lot of stuff. Yeah, we argue, we fight, we all that, but it's one big family at the end of the day.
For sure.
So, Andres, you battling something, we all are. Everybody's battling something. And we here in Sports Hit List family, we're family at the end of the day. So you could drop a message. And anybody says something else, they can catch these hands.
Yeah, Manny gonna pull up.
I'm here.
Manny gonna pull up real quick. I know. Listen, if I get into a dogfight, I got Manny on speed dial. He's gonna be the first person I call. I'm not even gonna lie to you on that one. He's gonna be the
I'll
first.
Probably arrive late. That's why.
You guys take.
You guys, can I say something real quick? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Andres, I wanted to say this to your face. Kareem is not overrated.
Oh, we're going back to this debate.
I don't get these
Good night,
chances,
everybody.
bro. Come on.
Come on.
I don't get these chances.
Nets
At
in
least I
four.
said it to your face. I had to. I'm sorry.
That's in 4. We'll see about that. Manny, take care. You guys take care. I'll talk to you guys.
Better,
soon.
brother. Take care, guys.
Oh man.
See you guys.
Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. Carl Coulanger as these guys exit out. Thank you to my panel for joining me here on the show. We had a great time today. We talked some NFL. We talked some hockey. Little bit of hockey, did some hockey updates. We talked about some NBA, the NBA play-in tournament. We're finally putting that Russell Westbrook debate to bed. For people to understand that, like, that debate is clearly over. We're not going to address it anymore, especially on the live. You guys can talk about it in the comments. We definitely talked about some NFL and some Tim Tebow. Now, for those who may have missed the show and you want to find out where you could tune in, the replay will be available on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It is available on YouTube. You could also check it out on Apple and I believe Spotify too. So you can check it out on Apple Podcasts and Apple Spotify. Please make sure you support the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. You also support the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. You have a ton of shows week long that you could go out there and watch. Make sure you download the app. You can go to the website. A lot of content coming for you. Let me give you a rundown of the Sports Hit List shows that you could check out. Tomorrow is my wife's show, The B Show. You could check that out at 5 o'clock. We got Smoke and Mirrors at 1 o'clock with Declan, Steph, and Greg on Friday. This Sunday, we're going to be doing a pay-per-view, WWE Backlash or WrestleMania Backlash. I don't even know why they're calling it that, but we will preview that live at 6 o'clock, and we'll also have a post following it. And then on Monday, you can check the Smoke and Mirrors back at 1 o'clock, and the Falco Takeaway Tuesdays at 2 o'clock. So there's the rundown of all our Hit List content. Thank you to all the fans for the love and support, for pulling up to the comments, for liking, sharing, subscribing. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe to us on YouTube, the Sports Hit List, Instagram, Sports HL. You can find all of our content. And again, thank you to all you guys for always being loyal and coming to watch the show. Truly, truly appreciate it. A special shout out to all my contributors. And I will talk to you guys soon. Again, this Sunday, please make sure you tune in. WWE WrestleMania Backlash. We will have a live. We're going to start doing lives for pro wrestling, big pro wrestling guys. So we'll break down the pay-per-view and then we'll follow it up with the post. So make sure you guys tune into that. And again, tomorrow we will have the B Show. Friday is Smoke and Mirrors at 1 o'clock. This is Carl Coulanger for the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. And I'll see you guys soon.